Namo Vishnu Padaya Krishna Prasad Bhutale Srimati Bhakti Vedanta Swami Itanamani Namaste Saraswati Devi Gauravani Pacharni Nirvasesha Sunyavadi Paskacha Desatarani Shri Krishna Chaitanya Prabhu Nityananda Shri Advaita Gadadhar Shivasari Gaur Bhakta Vrinda Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Ram, Ram Ram, Hare Hare. So today is a very special day for the Vaishnavas. It's the day that Krishna lifted Govardhan hill. And oh, geez. Here, yeah, that's good. Okay. Thank you. The devotees know that Krishna is real. But this world can be a difficult place. It is a difficult place. And confirmation of Krishna's love for his devotees, that he's always there protecting the devotees. He does it in his own way, but the confirmation of this love between Krishna and his devotees. Krishna loves his devotees. We love Krishna. But what do they call that unrequited love? That, you know, when it's not reciprocated, there's a tragedy to it. But Krishna's lifting Govardhan hill is confirmation that he loves his devotees, and nothing. What is, I can't remember the Sanskrit, but anyway, whoever Krishna wants to save, no one can kill. Who Krishna wants to kill, no one can save. And of all masters, Krishna is the best master. We're all serving somebody. Prabhupada points out that the gentleman, so-called gentleman, stands there and patiently serves the dog while he does his business. Prabhupada would be particularly shocked, I'm sure, that now they pick up after the dog and carry it as some little prize. So everybody's serving something. One of our Dwarkadish Das, when he was 6 years old, wrote a poem that Prabhupada liked the stanza very much. Instead of loving just a dog or a cat, why not love Krishna, who made all of that? So Krishna is the best of, we're all serving someone. Krishna's the best. And in fact, Krishna's the only real master. He's infallible. You can count on Krishna. Everything else. What do they say? Until the sun grows cold and the moon grows hot. So even that, everything in this material world has a termination point. But Krishna never fails his devotees. Now, what about a devotee who gets cancer? What about a devotee? Krishna helps the devotee go back to Godhead. Krishna says he protects his devotees, but that protection is the devotee's sojourn back to Godhead. Krishna doesn't always give us $1 million and cure our cancer. There's a purpose for it. And that purpose is to help us awaken our pure love of God and go back to Godhead. So this is confirmed by Krishna. So here we go. Now we can hit off this light. Thank you. Okay, so next. Oh, there we go. Such a world. What has happened, Tapas? Huh? Yeah, idle for too long. So I'll just, what do we do? Okay, so where are we? There's where we start. Next. So this is just Krishna's called Haridas of Aryadas, which means he's the best of the servants of Krishna. Next. So this is just a scene because we don't, even Chaitanya Mahaprabhu, he would not step on the hill. We don't step on Govardhan Hill because it's actually a manifestation of Krishna. Or as a great devotee of Krishna, we don't step on Govardhan Hill. So this is a rare view, the Deva's view of Govardhan Hill. Next. So Radharani asked Krishna to create a special place for their pastimes. Just like the, well, not just like, but the Louis XIV, called the Sun King of France, so opulent, he created a little, on that Versailles, he created a little garden area with a little cottage, and they would go and pretend to be simple peasants. And there was a sweetness to it. So in the same way, Radharani wanted a special place for her pastimes with Krishna, and Krishna made Govardhan Hill. So it comes from Krishna's heart in service to Srimati Radharani's request. That's the origin of Govardhan Hill. Next. So there it is. Govardhan Hill is Krishna's gift to Srimati Radharani. Next. Now, when Krishna came to this world, what is it? Paritanaya Sarunam Vanasaya Chaduskritam. Krishna comes yuge yuge to establish Dharma and to protect the devotees. Radharani was not too happy to come. She said, I'm not going to go unless there's Govardhan Hill and there's Brajabhumi. So what happened is because I've explained the esoteric origin of Govardhan Hill, but how did Govardhan Hill manifest? So what happened is Govardhan Hill appeared as the son of the king of the Himalayas. You know, of immovable things, I'm the Himalayas or Himalayas. Himalaya means cold place. So he appeared as the son of the Himalayan mountains. And Pulasta Muni, here you see a picture of Pulasta Muni, was very happy in his ashram. But variety is the mother of enjoyment. It was flat. It had nice fruit trees. It had a river. It had all the accoutrements of an ashram. But it was flat. So he thought there should be at least one hill. So it's a long story, but he begged from the king of the Himalayas that you just give me your son Govardhan, you just give me one mountain, I can put it in my ashram. So, as is often given the challenge, the king of the Himalayas said, well, if you can lift it, you can have him. But of course, you know, But Pulasta Muni, by his mantras and meditation, lifted Govardhan Hill. But Govardhan Hill said, now wherever you put me down, I'm staying. That's the deal. So, okay, fine. I'll just carry you to my ashram, put you down. I don't want you to go anywhere from there. So Pulasta Muni is flying via the cosmic airways with his carrying Govardhan Hill, and he had an overwhelming urge, pressure to pass water. What can I say? Call of nature overcomes all things. So in the urgency to relieve himself, he put Govardhan Hill down just as he was flying over Vrindavan. Therefore, we can understand that it was Krishna's arrangement. Just like Maharaj Pariksit, who was a great yogi, became overwhelmed by thirst. And therefore, they're cursing and all that, and we got the Bhagavatam. So Krishna has a sense of humor. He does things in his own way. So Pulasta Muni put Govardhan Hill down in Vrindavan, and that's how Govardhan Hill arrived there. Now, Pulasta Muni finished his business. He picked up Govardhan Hill, tried to pick up Govardhan Hill. Govardhan Hill would not move, because that was the deal. So Pulasta Muni cursed Govardhan Hill that you're going to shrink 1 mustard seed a day. Now that doesn't seem like much. Anyone know the size of a mustard seed? Remind me to tell the Sariputta story. So next. So what happened, I came to the temple one morning, I forget why, and I came through the kitchen, and there was Sariputta Prabhu, one of the founding members of the Bhaktivedanta Institute, and a profound genius, and a wonderful devotee, double PhD from Cornell, and I forget where else, in statistics and theoretical physics. And Sariputta had a line of mustard seeds. Why? Well, he wanted to calculate. They say, give me the numbers. And do you know how many mustard seeds on average it takes to make 1 inch? 12 mustard seeds. So he took, if it's shrinking a mustard seed a day, 1 inch equals 12 days. Yeah? And then if you multiply how many, and you figure out over 5,000 years, shrinking 1 mustard seed a day, what was the height of Govardhan Hill on average 5,000 years ago in Krishna's pastimes? And it winds up being about 12,000 to 13,000 feet. That's a sizable mountain. Anybody know how high the Mount Everest is? 8 kilometers. Huh? 8,848 meters. Yeah, how many feet? Multiplied by 3. Yeah, rough average. Huh? He's saying, I don't think that's right. Somebody do a Google search on how many feet, how high is Mount Everest. Maybe he's right. But you can understand, thousands of feet high. That was the size of Govardhan Hill. Okay, so Govardhan Hill, cursed by Pulasta Muni to shrink a mustard seed a day. Well, how did that happen? How can a great devotee of Krishna be cursed by a more or less common yogi, a real yogi? How is it possible? So the internal reason why Govardhan Hill is shrinking is due to his separation from Krishna. And that's by Rupa Goswami. Next. 29,000 feet. Oh, look at that. You were right. 29,000. So it's almost, coming close to the size of Mount Everest. Okay. So this is, Govardhan Hill is the playground. This is many devotees, this is one of their favorite picture. Here's Krishna and the cowherd boys. You know, Mother Yasoda's stopping him periodically. Oh, and she's fixing his peacock feather, and then he makes it another 10, 15 feet. She stops him again. She fixes his necklace. He makes it another 20 feet. She's fixing his... Finally says, Mata, just let me go. And this is the moment when Krishna and the cowherd boys, they're out in the forest and they're breaking free. They can just play as they like. Next. So here it says, Govardhan Hill plays as Krishna and the cowherd boys' playground. It provides everything. Next. So Krishna, here's some of the cowherd pastimes. Madhu Mangal, who's famous for, other than Dravida, what is Madhu Mangala famous for? Anyone know? Krishna's cowherd boyfriend? We don't have Ram, we don't have Balaram. Sweets. He loves to eat. He's very proud of his little Brahman belly. So so Krishna snatched his lunch. He's throwing it to one of the other boys, and you know, kids, what do they call it? Keep away or whatever it is. There's games that kids play spontaneously. Okay, next. So Govardhan Hill, this is from the Bhagavatam. Govardhan Hill supplies all kinds of necessities: water for drinking, fresh soft grass, caves, fruits, flowers, and vegetables. The water flowing on Govardhan Hill is not just nectarian water. It's also fruit juices. When there's a little cold weather, just for variety, it's hot beverages. Govardhan Hill provides everything. Next. Now, this is there's actually caves. There's supposed to be a cave that goes all the way from one side of Govardhan Hill to another. And you know, water parks, people like to slide on water parks. There's actually water parks, you know, on Govardhan Hill in its pure manifestation. The cowherd boys can slide all the way down into the Jamuna. It's got everything. So even now, there's yogis who live in those caves, great bhaktas. One of our Goswamis lived in a cave on Govardhan Hill for some time. So there's a picture of one of the caves on Govardhan. Okay, next. The stones are cold in the winter, cold in the summer, cooling, and in the winter they're warm. So here is Krishna, the origin of Govardhan Hill, and we'll talk more about this tonight, but to curb Indra's pride and to show that he is the supreme and that he always protects his devotees, Krishna plants the seed of the Govardhan Lila. He angers Indra. Now Indra, the cowherd men of Vrindavan, and you find this in Adivasis, or people living in the forest since time immemorial. They worship the rain god, because without rain, if somebody doesn't water the plants in front of the temple, if nobody waters, what happens to all the plants? They die. They dry up. So the Vaishyas are dependent on the cows. The Brajbasis are dependent on the cows, and the cows depend on the grass, and the grass depends on the rain. If you cut the rain, what happens? So it's the attitude of gratitude or a respectful relationship with the cosmic machinery and the people behind that machinery. For example, a car will sit in the garage for thousands of years. An airplane will sit on the tarmac and not take off, even though it's a perfectly designed machine. What does it need? Help me out. It needs a pilot or a driver. It needs the touch of a living entity. This whole world is a giant machine. Laws of chemistry, laws of physics, laws of mathematics. It's a machine. And without the touch of Lord Vishnu and all of his agents, it doesn't function. So the attitude of gratitude, of appreciation of the Devas and ultimately the Supreme Lord, it is not mythology or antiquated simpleton thinking. No. To understand that there's people behind force, force means there's the forceful. It's completely common sense. So in recognition of this, the residents of Vrindavan would annually worship Lord Indra. And Krishna, who Indra refers to as a talkative, inexperienced boy, Krishna tells his father, offers all kinds of arguments. But we don't have to worship Indra. Rain falls on the ocean. The ocean doesn't need water. It didn't perform any Indra puja, and rain's falling there. Rain will come automatically due to our pious deeds. So we don't need that, And then he makes a whole argument how we just should worship Govardhan Hill. So Nanda Baba, Nanda Maharaj, his father, he was not these arguments didn't convince Nanda Maharaj and the residents of Vrindavan to give up their annual puja of Indra. Anybody know what convinced them? Why did they do it? Was it all the profound arguments by Krishna? Why did they do it? Which is and the reason is the essence of bhav, of bhakti. Why did they do it? Anybody know other than Dravida? Huh? What did you say? Out of love. Krishna wants it. All right. Whatever, to hell with our tradition, whatever, like the gopis. They left their homes, their parents, their husbands, no. Krishna's calling. Look at all of us. We could have done so many things with our life, but here we are. Krishna wants it. Let me serve Krishna. Let me please Krishna. You will not find that at Sri Mandir or anywhere else, or in Hindu tradition, or in most Christian churches. But Krishna wants it. God wants it. I'm doing it. So that's the reason. Next. So, in the same mood as our clouds here, the wrath of Indra, mountains and thunderbolts are perennial enemies. The mountains they're being struck by lightning, and the lightning shatters the mountain, and gradually they're worn down. So mountains usually lose, but Govardhan won in this battle of Indra's thunderbolts. Devotees are victorious by Krishna's grace. There's we don't have time, but there's so many examples of Krishna's against all. Well, let's just look at one. Prabhupada coming to America, an old man, not in good health, no contacts, no money, English as a second language, and he changed the world. Prabhupada, in a sublime, transcendental pride. It's not arrogance, but it's a quiet confidence. Prabhupada makes the point. So many editions, according to the Library of, Mukunda Maharaj told me this, the Library of Congress in 1965, when Prabhupada arrived, had over 65 different versions of Bhagavad Gita. Okay? Gita was here. But what is the title of Bhagavad Gita on Srila Prabhupada's edition of Bhagavad Gita? As it is. Nobody else had presented Bhagavad Gita as it is. And what was the proof that Prabhupada repeated? In spite of so many editions of Bhagavad Gita, not one single person became a devotee of Krishna. Prabhupada's Bhagavad Gita, as it is, thousands, literally thousands of people. And if you calculate from when the Gita was, when was the Macmillan Gita released?
The unabridged was released in 72.
72, but...
The abridged, 68.
Yeah, 68, that's what we're looking for. So from 1968 until now, millions have become devotees from reading Bhagavad Gita. So, I mean, against all odds. So the devotees are victorious by Krishna's grace against all odds. Next. So lifting Govardhan hill with the little finger of his left hand, Krishna is a transcendental show-off. Usually the left hand is weaker, and of course the little finger is the weakest. Prabhupada says, of course it doesn't happen so much anymore. But Prabhupada said there's editions of God loitering on every corner in Mumbai, in Bombay. I mean, there used to be so many incarnations. Who is that guy, Bal Yogi? There were so many that said they were God. Yogi, and not Yogi Bhajan, but anyway, and there's people. So Prabhupada says you can challenge them. You can ask them to show their universal form, or you can ask them to lift Govardhan hill. Now, if you think about it, it's not such an amazing thing. If Krishna is, as he says, Sarvaloka Maheshwaram, the controller of all planets, floating in the sky. Of course, it's Balaram, gravity, Krishna's agent. But how were they to float? I mean, what does the Earth weigh? Do we have a Google on that? I don't know, but Krishna's floating the Earth, and there's as many planets as there are grains of sand on the beach, according to the Brahma Samhita. So to float one mountain, Prabhupada says everything becomes possible once we accept the absolute power of the Supreme. If you're really all in that there is Krishna, the cause of all causes, then lifting one mountain, that's not such an amazing thing, although it is amazing. Okay, next. So the Brajbasis, their only shelter is Krishna. You can, if you think about it, if the rain is pouring on the mountain, if I have this glass with the lid, and I pour water, no water goes into the glass, but the water must go somewhere. Where does it go? Just with this example of I pour water here, what happens to the water? Yeah, don't overthink it. It just flows over the side. So you've got Govardhan Hill, and you've got all the rain falling on top of it. It must go over the sides. If it goes over the sides, it flows under. What did Krishna do? And to assist Krishna, Seshanag appeared, holding up all the planets. Seshanag came and coiled around and made like a moat around and then with his Sudarshan chakra, he also dried up all the water. Underneath that hill, Vishnu Chakravarti Thakur says, it wasn't like if you rip up a clunk of earth and then there's roots and worms and, it was a celestial city underneath. It became a giant valley with the circular moat of Seshanag and Govardhan Hill above it. And here's and it was a beautiful valley. All the accoutrements of Govardhan Hill, all grasses, palaces, all that was created underneath. And then Krishna just invited the inhabitants of Braj, come on under. It was all illuminated. It was according to Vishnu Chakravarti Thakur, underneath Govardhan Hill was more beautiful than Swarga Loka, Lord Indra's place. And Vishnu Chakravarti Thakur points out that when Krishna lived at Govardhan Hill, when Krishna's in a fight, other than Dravida, when Krishna's in a fight, before the start of that fight, what does he often do? Usually he does it. Before he killed Aristasura, what did he do? Anyone know? Exactly. He tightened his belt. Before he gets into a fight, he tightens his belt. But when he lifted Govardhan Hill, he did not tighten his belt. And Vishnu Chakravarti Thakur says that was like an affront to Indra. He's facing off against Indra, and he doesn't consider Indra enough of a combatant to even tighten his belt first. He just lifted Govardhan Hill. Take that, Indra. So this is the mood of Krishna lifting Govardhan Hill. We'll talk more why it happened later on tonight. But so there it's described. Next. Oh, so go back. Now, somewhere in here, this is a great picture because you will note, if I can find my laser pointer without blinding somebody, here is Indra right here. And it's an elaborate story. Gopal Champu by Jiva Goswami? Yeah. It's a whole, verse after verse after verse describing chapter and chapter. So we don't have time to go into it. But at one point, Krishna had just had enough. Indra tried again and again, different thunderbolts, different clouds, so many different weapons. The inhabitants of Vrindavan are under Govardhan Hill, where Krishna's created it more beautiful than Swarga Loka. They're all enjoying like anything. That's the whole. The only person who became disturbed by Krishna's lifting Govardhan Hill was Indra, because his will was thwarted. But at one point, he went to throw a thunderbolt, and Krishna just said, enough, froze his arm. He couldn't even hurl his... So finally, he just left in defeat. Initially, he was getting reports. He's got his agents, this talkative boy in a tiny village, this affront to me. He didn't come himself. He sent his clouds. He threw his thunderbolts. And they kept reporting back. You haven't even blown a single leaf off a single tree. Not a single ant has been disturbed who's under shelter of Govardhan Hill. So Indra finally came to check it out himself and was amazed and enraged. So he threw his, so many, and finally Krishna just froze him. He couldn't even move his arm, so he left. Next. So the argument about who is holding Govardhan Hill, there was a big debate that actually Madhu Mangal, who we described earlier, the Brahmin, said, actually, I'm holding it up with all my mantras. And then the Gopas were saying, at least switch hands. And they were holding with their sticks. They thought, at one point in time, so at one point in time, because they were all boasting, oh, Krishna, you think you're lifting Govardhan, but we're actually holding the hill. The little coward boys were saying, The other Brajbasis were saying, by the strength of our prayers, Govardhan Hill is floating. Actually, by the will of Govardhan itself is floating. Mother Yasoda was in such complete anxiety. She was saying, Krishna was saying, I'm not distressed. Govardhan Hill's just holding itself. I'm just got my finger underneath it. But it's levitating on its own. So Mother Yasoda said, oh, if that's true, then move your hand and let it float, So there's a whole debate going on. But so the coward boys thought they're doing it. And just, to give them a taste, for 1 second, Krishna let them feel the pressure of holding Govardhan Hill. It was so heavy, it knocked them all out. They all fell over. They were all knocked unconscious. When they recovered, they said, well, geez, at least you should have given us a warning, So you can understand the ras underneath. Next. So this is Krishna. After Krishna described how to worship Govardhan Hill instead of Indra. Take all the ingredients for the Indra Puja, you use it for Govardhan Puja. But Govardhan Puja is famous for mountains of prasadam. It's one of Madhu Mangal's favorite events because he loves to eat. It's famous for mountains of prasadam. Anna Kuta. Thank you. So now I forgot what I was going to say. But be that as it may, so here you see all the prasadam. Krishna assumed a unique, gigantic form. Although Krishna was actually Govardhan Hill, and he was also there as a little cowherd boy, 7 years old, holding Govardhan Hill. After consuming all the prasadam, what did he say? Aniyor, give me more. Next. So this is Govardhan Hill. Krishna held up Govardhan Hill for 7 days. Now, according to Vedic calculation, a day is divided into 8 different divisions. So, and Mother Yasoda feeds Krishna at each of those 8 different divisions. So 8 times 7 is 56. So there's Chapan Bhog. This is when 56 different, and you see this on Govardhan Puja, a minimum of 56 different preparations, which is Mother Yasoda feeding Krishna for the 7 days he wasn't able to eat because he was holding Govardhan Hill. So 8 divisions in a day, 7 days makes 56. So there's offering 56. You see this in different temples. Even in Govinda Dev temple, they offer Chapan Bhog, which is 56 different offerings. So this is from Hungary. Everything here but the rice and some of the spices was grown in the Hungarian farm. Next, Krishna Valley. This is, and please note, these are people. So this is at our Krishna Balaram temple. That's Govardhan Hill, ISKCON Vrindavan. It's a mountain of prasadam and other sweets. It's really quite something. Next. So here's that mystical form. This is the gigantic form that Krishna assumed and consumed. 2 giant hands came out, and he stuffed everything into his mouth. So here, and here's also that unique, here's the residence of Vrindavan. Here's the unique personification, gigantic form of Govardhan Hill, of Krishna accepting Aniyor, give me more. Next. So, of course, obviously we're fast forwarding because of the time. But Indra begs for forgiveness. He finally, his pride is completely smashed. He's overwhelmed with distress, how he tried to destroy Nanda Maharaj and the village of Vrindavan. So here he is. Now the thing is, I don't know if the next slide says it, but you know, it's not so easy. You can't approach, if you commit an offense, how to get remedy for that, that's a whole description by Vishwanath Chakravarti Thakur. But one of the things is, you can't just approach Krishna directly if you've committed an offense. You have to go through someone who's beloved of Krishna. Just like, you know, if somebody offends their girlfriend, they'll go through one of her friends. Or, you know, if you want to approach some big personality you've offended, they won't even give you the time of day. They won't talk to you. But if someone who's beloved to them makes an appeal on your behalf, oh, he's not so bad, forgive him, he's really sorry, then that softens the heart. So if we have committed an offense to Krishna, we go through Krishna's devotees. Just like all of us come to this material world, we've been eating meat, who knows, all kinds of horrible things we've done in our unlimited lifetimes. Our spiritual master, Guru, Sadhu, they make appeals to Krishna to forgive us. So that's the secret for getting Krishna's mercy, is you go through a devotee. So who's very dear to Krishna? The cows are dear to Krishna. So here's Surabhi, celestial Surabhi. She's bathing Krishna in milk, and she first approached Krishna to forgive Indra. So next. We'll talk about this more tonight. But mundane pride is actually a great burden. You know, everybody wants to be, you know, adored, appreciated, praised. Everyone likes to be the top man, push everyone. But it's actually a huge burden. Carrying vanity, pride. It's just such an unnecessary. Trinadapi Sunichena, which Srila Bhaktisiddhanta Saraswati Thakur said we should wear that verse like a garland around our neck. So to be lower, you know, more humble than with a blade of grass, more taller than the tree, devoid of all sense of false prestige, ready to offer all respects to others, not expecting any respect for us. That is the sweet, peaceful, all-embracing. Devotees are merciful to even an ant. So it's a wonderful way to live and see the world rather than this constant competition and envy. It's a horrible way to live. Advertising is based on the premise of envy and competition. Got to keep up with the man next door. So next, it's a horrible burden. So Surabhi, if we go to Surabhi Kunj, this is a picture of Surabhi Kunj, better to say when we go to Sarabi Kunj, which is at the base of Govardhan Hill. That's where Sarabi made the appeal to Krishna to please forgive Indra. So it's a very special place. We can pray to have our pride reduced and be happy to simply serve, and for forgiveness to offenses to Vaishnavas. Next. So Govardhan Hill as seen by realized devotees. We'll just go through this quickly. Next. So Radha and Krishna each have their, drones. Everybody considers drones new things, and it's invading privacy, and they use them for surveillance on battlefields. And they make that buzzing, that ominous, bzzz, it's a very irritating sound, actually. Radha and Krishna have drones. They each have their own air force of pilots, of parrots, an air force of parrots. Radharani has hers, Krishna has his, and they're all keeping track of each other. Because on Govardhan Hill, the gopis, they block, when Krishna and his cowherd friends are going through a valley, they block it. Krishna blocks the gopis when they're going to sell their goods in Mathura. He demands a tax because they're in a narrow valley. They can't get through. What is the tax? There's so many things. So they have their own air force, their fleet of parrots. Next. This is the Parikram path, celestial Vrindavan. Next. So it's a place of deep prayer. Next. There's some of the residents. This is the rare blue deer that you can still see sometimes. It's a whole story about those. Next. So Chaitanya Mahaprabhu at Govardhan Hill in the mood of Radharani. We have a beautiful, there's a whole story. We'll see how I need to. Anyway, about how we got our Govardhan Shila. Let me just say this. The Govardhan Shila on our altar, you can't just grab a Govardhan Shila, pick up a stone off the hill. It has to be gifted to you by a devotee of Krishna. So Padmanabha Goswami, who at the time was the head, he's passed away. He was the head of the Radharaman temple. I went with the Siddhanta, Super Siddh, Siddhanta, now he's Siddhanta Maharaj. We both, because we were thinking, I was thinking, he was also, it's New Govardhan, Radha Giridhari, but we don't have a Govardhan Shila. So I went and explained this to Padmanabha Goswami, the head of the Radharaman temple, Gopal Bhatta Goswami's temple. So he said, come with me tomorrow, we'll go to Govardhan Hill. We went to Govardhan Hill, he chanted all these mantras, he went up on the hill, he selected our Govardhan Shila. And I swear to you, Siddhanta Prabhu, Super Siddh, Siddhanta Maharaj, who spends most of his time in India or New Zealand, personally can confirm this. When he put we had a nice cloth and a box to put the Shila in to transport it back to San Diego. It was, as he handed me the Shila, the sun was setting. All of a sudden, we're on the base of the hill on the Parikram path. You saw the picture. He hands me the Shila. I rest him in this nice box with cloth to take him back. Out of nowhere, literally, dozens and dozens of white cows surrounded us. They were just and they raised that dust. So dust of Govardhan Hill. We were in this transit. What is it, Renu? What is it? Braj Renu, the dust of Vrindavan, was floating down on us with our Shila. And we'd driven out there in a little ambassador, an Indian car. 3 peacocks landed on the car. It was a magical moment. So, next. So this is some of the elements of, this is Kusum Sarovar. You've all seen the pictures. This is where, next, this is where Nanda Maharaj was transformed into a gopa so he could observe the gopis' pastimes at Radhakund and on Govardhan Hill. Next. Anyway, next, because we need to move on. What to do? So many pastimes in Vrindavan. Maybe we'll save this for next Sunday, because I know the devotees all have service. But just to give an example of one of these pastimes, Krishna killed Vatasura in the form of a calf. It was a demon. Mystic, shape-shifting yogi took this form, attacked the cowherd boys, so many things. Krishna killed him. Now the gopis, they said, we're not going to play with you anymore. You're contaminated by the sin of killing a bull. Krishna made his arguments. It wasn't really a bull. It was a mystic yogi who'd taken the demoniac, had taken the form. No, they didn't accept it. They said, you've got to bathe in the Ganga, which is a difficult thing. From the Ganga to the, in Bengal, Bihar and Bengal, it's thousands of miles away. Krishna's not leaving Vrindavan. So from his mind, Manasi, poof, the Ganga manifests. So this is a picture of that Ganges appearing from the mind of Krishna so he could bathe. That's on Govardhan Hill. It's a wonderful place. Next. So that, I think we'll move on. You can just read that quickly. So they were all going to go. Actually, Krishna performs his Leelas in different ways at different times for multiple reasons. With one thing, Krishna can accomplish many things. So simultaneously with this killing of Bhattasura, and therefore you've got to be purified by bathing in the Ganga. The residents of Vrindavan heard from Gargamuni all the glories of the Ganga, so they were going to travel. So Krishna, anyway, there it is. Next. Just to confirm, all right, I'm going to tell one more just quickly. There's the Bhajan Kutir, where Sanatana Goswami used to sit and chant his bhajans. It's also where he left his body, his samadhi's there. It's a wonderful place. And from there you can see the Manasa Ganga. So he's sitting there, Sanatana Goswami. Rupa Goswami had written that Radharani's braid, her hair braided, is like a beautiful black snake. So the Goswamis used to share their literature with each other as they were crafting it. The others were doing editing and would offer suggestions. A lot of them were anyway, so many examples. Gopal Bhatta Goswami edited the Satsandarbhas, Ajiva Goswami, so many things. Sanatana Goswami half-finished one book, gave it to Gopal Bhatta to finish off. So there's so many things they shared. Rupa Goswami wrote that Radharani's braid is like a black snake. Sanatana Goswami said, no. She's a delicate, sweet young girl. She's got a black snake climbing. No, this is not an appropriate analogy. So Rupa Goswami took it out. Later on, I don't know the time span, Sanatana Goswami's sitting by Manasa Ganga and he's chanting japa. and he sees some young girls come down the other side of the Kund. They've got their steps down to, and they're laughing and they're joking, and he didn't recognize them as village girls, local village girls. And they were all very beautiful. And in the middle was a sublimely beautiful young lady who was obviously the center of their affection. So they come, they take a dip, they're walking back up, and all of a sudden, on the back of the center of their affection, the beautiful young lady, he sees a black snake climbing up her back. So Sanatan yells, "Snake, snake, look out, watch, The girl at the center turns, laughs, they disappear. He could understand this is Radharani. He made a beeline back to Rupa, said, "Put it back in. She likes it. Put it back in." So it just gives you a flavor of even 500 years ago, what is the mood of Vrindavan. So I think what we're going to do, let's fast forward because of the time. Next. Yeah, I think we bet next. Next. Yeah, we'll just skip over this. This is Haridas of Aryadas. This is the Haridev. This is the deity Haridev. When the gopis would wait in anxiety, is Krishna coming? Is he not coming? When will we see him? They would gather and sing songs of separation. The Haridev deity, who Chaitanya Mahaprabhu had darshan, and we can all have darshan of, is the manifestation out of the prayers of the gopis' prayers for separation. So if you're longing for Krishna, you can go worship this deity. Next. And here's the temple. It's built by one of the kings of Jaipur. There was an intimate connection between Vrindavan and Jaipur. It's called Gupta Vrindavan or Hidden Vrindavan. So this is where Lord Chaitanya danced in ecstasy when he visited. Next. Anyway, I think we can just pace through. Next. And then we'll just end. Next. We'll show this some other time. Next. Sorry I was late. Keep going. There's sufficient to say that Govardhan Hill is a festival of most auspicious, deeply spiritual places. So you should all make plans, with permission of our temple president, Balaram Prabhu, how to go someday to Vrindavan. Don't just go and roam around and eat sweets and talk to some Babaji who will tell you that your Siddhadeha, your spiritual form, is as a peacock. And don't get lost in that. Go with devotees, go on a bona fide program, go with Balaram or some senior devotee, and then visit Vrindavan. Because and circumambulate Govardhan Hill in deep ecstasy. Next. Yeah, we'll just come to the end. Next. Just to give you another example, Govardhan Hill, this is the Bhajan Kutir of Krishnadas Kaviraj, and this is where the Chaitanya Charitamrita was completed. He was 90 years old. He said, "I'm lame, I'm half blind." And for 1 hour in the afternoons, he would narrate the pastimes. Who was it who was narrating Raghunath Das Goswami was narrating the pastimes of Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu. Krishnadas Kaviraj heard them, and this is the place where, as an old man, Krishnadas Kaviraj composed the Chaitanya Charitamrita. So it's just a sample. Next. This is the Lord Chaitanya's sitting place. The Goswamis, many of our Acharyas, all had bhajan kutirs and samadhis at Radhakund. Next. This is the samadhi of Srila Bhaktivinoda Thakur. This is Srila Bhaktisiddhanta Saraswati Thakur. Used to stay there and perform bhajan at Bhaktivinoda Thakur's bhajan kutir. These are his shoes and his walking stick. Next. Okay, this is the, anyway, there's so many things. I guess we'll do this some other time. Keep going, keep going. All right, so back up. Next. Yeah, go the other way. Go back to the key. So everyone's looking for a shortcut. Everyone's looking. What is the meaning of today? One of the things to take away from today. When you meditate on these blissful clouds, Krishna lifting Govardhan Hill, all these pastimes, what to take away from it? This comes again from Vishwanath Chakravarti Thakur. Everyone's looking for a shortcut. And it's natural. It's on how long do we have to live? So many things. So we're all looking for blessings. People want a secret mantra. They want some, what is the fast track? There is actually a fast track. Next. And we can learn this from the Govardhan Lila pastime. The materialists think God, and I'm sorry if I offend anybody, but the Lord's Prayer, their Mahavakyam, their essential statement, crystallization of the Christian faith, is the Lord's Prayer. And it begins, Our Father art in heaven, hallowed by thy name, by the way, is the way it begins. But in there is, God give us this day our daily bread. And Prabhupada says, it's good. It's not much, but it's good. If God doesn't feed me, I will die. So God, please feed me. I want, give to me. Gimme, 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 I want, I want. But what is the mood of Vrindavan? They're thinking, if I don't feed, Mother Yasoda was upset. Damodar Lila, Kartik time, Mother Yasoda was upset when the milk boiled over, not because she was worried about the loss of the milk, although that was special milk, from special cows that grazed on Govardhan Hill. So that Krishna's stealing propensity would be curbed. She didn't want her son to turn out to be a juvenile delinquent. She had special cows who only ate special grass growing on Govardhan Hill to produce that milk. But that wasn't the point. She wanted to feed Krishna. So the Brajbasis think, if I don't feed Krishna, he'll become weak, he'll become, so many. Prabhupada, they had a picture of Krishna. They used to show Prabhupada all the pictures. And Krishna, was a little muscular in Vrindavan. Prabhupada said, no. He's a little fat from Mother Yasoda's butter. So Krishna's not an Atlas Hulk. So anyway, so this is one, the mood of pure unmotivated devotion as shown as the Brajbasis. That's a shortcut, the fast track to going back home, back to Godhead, to have that selfless mood. Let me serve Krishna. Whatever, I don't, my life will take care of itself. Next. And the other, service to the Lord and the devotees as exemplified by Govardhan Hill. Haridas Avarya as the best of the servants. So just serve Krishna, and even more importantly, serve Krishna's devotees. That's the shortcut, the fast track, the hidden secret of attracting Krishna's mercy and going back to Godhead. Next. So we can end there. May Lord Giridhari give us all this shelter. Thank you very much. Sorry I was late. Hare Krishna.